You're standing over a 6-foot putt. You're trying to break 80 or 90 for the first time in your life. Your hands are shaking. Your breathing has gone shallow. Your mind is already cycling through every single way this putt can miss. Let me ask you something. What are you actually afraid of? The obvious answer is missing the putt. But that's not it. That's not the real thing. The real answer is this. You are terrified because you are demanding right now, in this moment, that a little white ball obeys your will. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you already know it might not. That gap between your demand and reality, that is the cage. And today, on Bite-Sized Golf Wisdom, we're going to break you out of it. If you've ever struggled with anxiety on the golf course, and almost every golfer has, you've probably tried to fix it. You've tried deep breathing. You've tried a tighter pre-shot routine. You've tried swing thoughts, mantras, counting backwards. You've maybe even tried just not caring. And none of it really worked, not at the root level. Because here's the brutal truth. You've been treating the symptom. Golf anxiety is almost universally misdiagnosed. Golfers think it's a confidence problem, or a technique problem, or a mental toughness problem. But here's the insight. It's none of those things. The Stoic philosophers Epictetus, Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, men who faced genuine adversity, genuine uncertainty, identified something 2,000 years ago that most golfers still haven't figured out. They said, your anxiety is not a weakness. It's a symptom of one very specific thing. The addiction. It's controlling what was never yours to control. Let's think about it. On the golf course, where does the anxiety spike? It's not when you're practicing in the garden. It's when the shot matters. It's when there's a score attached, when people are watching, when the outcome suddenly feels like it says something about you. And in that moment, your brain locks onto the outcome, and then it demands with every fiber of your nervous system that it goes the way you want. The Stoics had a word for that demand. They called it arrogance. But, and this is important, viewers, it's not arrogance in the sense of ego. It is arrogance in the sense of overreach. It's the attempt at claiming ownership over something the universe never agreed to give you. This anxiety is not the cost of caring. It's the cost of demanding certainty. From an uncertain game, the philosopher Seneca, writing over 2,000 years ago, identified something so precise about human psychology that it should be on the wall of every golf locker room in the world. Here's what he said. Hope and fear are chained together. They are in reality the same thing. Hope sounds positive, right? Generally, the word hope sounds like the good one. But Seneca saw through it. The moment you desperately hope for a specific outcome, you have simultaneously created the terror of the opposite. But here's the thing. They are not opposites. They are twins. They arrive together, and they leave together. Okay, viewers, let's bring this theory onto the golf course. Imagine, you're standing on the tee of a par 5 that you feel you can reach into. You're feeling good, you're eager, you want this. That eagerness, that hope for the chance of an eagle in the very same breath, creates the anxiety of the wild drive, the thin second, and the missed green. The craving for one outcome is the terror of another. They are inseparable. Another scenario. The third at your home course, a hole you always struggle on. You walk onto the tee telling yourself, you're going to stay calm this time. And the fact that you're telling yourself that means you're already in it. The fear has already arrived, and it's wearing the mask of determination. This is what the Stoics called the self-inflicted war. And most golfers are fighting it on every single hole. Here's the thing that makes this particularly cruel for golfers. Golf is a game of extraordinary uncertainty. Even the best players in the world, players who have hit tons of balls, cannot fully predict where the next one is going. The variables are too many. So, when you step onto a golf course and demand certainty, you are not just asking for something difficult. You are asking for something that doesn't exist. In summary, you are demanding the impossible out, and importantly, then wondering why you feel terrible when you don't get it. This is the self-inflicted war, and the Stoics had a weapon to end it. Let's look at how it can help you golfers. Epictetus was born a slave. He had no control over where he lived, what he ate, whether he suffered pain. And from that position, from absolute powerlessness, he developed one of the most liberating ideas in human history. He called it The dichotomy of control. It's not complicated, but it is ruthless. Here's the essence of it. Some things are yours. However, most things are not. So golfers, stop spending your energy on the list of things you don't own. Epictetus taught that our judgments, our actions, our intentions, these are ours. Everything else, things like the outcomes, the weather, the unlucky bounces, the tough lie in the rough, these were never ours. We borrowed them. We fantasized about owning them, but we don't. Let's draw that line on a golf course. What you own. 1. Club selection. 2. Your pre-shot routine. 3. Your swing intention. 4. Your commitment level. 5. Your attitude between shots. And 6. Your focus. And on the flip side, what you never owned. 1. The wind. 2. The bounce. 3. The lie you get. 4. Other players. 5. The scorecard now. In your last round of golf, where was the majority of your mental energy? I'll wager it was in the content of that second list. Watching the ball in the air, agonizing over a bad bounce, replaying the hole you dropped a shot on, calculating what you need to shoot on the back nine to rescue the score. All of it in the section you never owned. None of it within the dichotomy of your control. Epictetus said, "Don't demand events as you wish them as they occur." Viewers, please read that again. Wish them as they occur. However, this is not passive resignation. And it's not indifference. It is completely different orientation to reality. Instead of arriving on the first tee demanding the game perform for you, instead, you arrive open-minded, being prepared, and importantly, committed to the process, and genuinely, philosophically, at peace with whatever the game returns on that day. This is not weakness, and it's certainly not giving up. The Stoics were not passive people. Marcus Aurelius ran an empire. Epictetus taught philosophy that changed the ancient world. They were intensely active, intensely committed, but the key is they acted within what was theirs, and they released everything that wasn't. Marcus Aurelius wrote about something he called the Inner Citadel, his fortress of peace. It's not a place you find, it's a place you build. Slowly, through committed practice and through repetition, through choosing your response instead of reacting automatically. And in golf, a sport of failure, of impermanence, of constant uncertainty, it is perhaps the single most valuable mental skill you can develop. Here's what the Inner Citadel looks like on a golf course. It looks like a player who finds their tee shot in the water. On a hole, they needed to play well. And instead of the jaw tightening, the club throwing, the spiral into the next 3 holes, they take a breath. They take a penalty drop. They pick a target. They commit. They swing. Not because they don't care, not because they're suppressing something, but because they have genuinely, philosophically released ownership of the outcome. The shot happened. It is now in the past. And that past does not belong to them anymore. It looks like a player who holds a long birdie putt and whose internal state barely shifts. It's not because they're not pleased, because they haven't tied their peace of mind to the scorecard. The birdie is wonderful, but the bogey on the next hole will not be catastrophic. They are not hostage to either outcome, Marcus Aurelius said. To tie your peace of mind to outcomes is to make yourself a slave to what you cannot control. Take a moment to think about the golfers you've played with who seem to have this quality. The ones who hit a bad shot, and within 10 seconds, they're already looking at the next one. They aren't performing composure. They are actually composed. Most of us assume that's a personality trait, something you're born with. It isn't. It's a practice. The Stoics didn't just understand the dichotomy of control intellectually. They rehearsed it daily. Every morning, they would contemplate the day ahead and consciously separate what was theirs from what wasn't. Every evening, they reviewed their actions, not their outcomes. They'd ask, did I prepare? Did I commit? Did I stay within my own column? If yes, success. The score was irrelevant to the audit, and the mind, like the golf swing, responds to practice. Okay, golfers. Here is the single exercise I want you to take onto the course the next time you play. After every shot, good, bad, or ugly, Ask yourself one question. Did I control what was mine? If the answer is yes, you succeeded. Full stop. Not, did it go where I wanted? Not, did it help my score? Did I control what was mine? The drive that goes 280 down the middle after you rushed your routine, that's not a success in the Stoic audit. The 7-iron you flush, fully committed, perfect process that kicks sideways off a sprinkler head, that's a success. Because everything you owned, you handled. Over time, something remarkable happens. When you genuinely stop measuring yourself against outcomes, when you build your identity as a golfer around the process, not the scorecard, the anxiety begins to fall away. Not because you stop caring, because you've stopped demanding the impossible. The cage was never the golf course. It was never the weather, the lies, the bad bounces. The cage was the demand. The key was always in your hand. The Stoics practiced this until calm became their default state, not a reaction, a core foundation. And the beautiful thing about golf is that it gives you 18 holes every single round to practice. So golfers, next time you're standing over that 6-foot putt, remember this: the stroke is yours. The result is not. Master that split and the game changes forever. If this struck a chord with you, hit subscribe and check out the full golf philosophy series links in the description. I'll see you in the next one.